Okay, it's midterm checkup. It's always a good idea to do this. Now, at the beginning of term or early in term, some training and a video, we talked about the importance of just getting things right at the very beginning. Midterm checkup is very important. And if you're one of these people that's bored silly about this stuff, you could be creating problems for yourself. I'm just going to outline a few basic principles. If you nip things in the bud now, they will, first of all, make things so much easier for your students and really help them. I appreciate you might only have one student, you might have more, depending, but now is the time to take stock of where they are. Now, we talked about before, you should be doing the weekly attendance, the reading, and so on a weekly basis, knowing where they are. But it's a good time, especially if you have 5 or 6 students or more, sit down very quickly, take time, I should say, to go over each student. Where exactly are they progressing towards term in general? Remember, to get a completion certificate towards graduation, they need to meet the requirements, and it's very important they do that. Now, I just want to quickly make you aware of, and it's mentioned in the document, certainly it's been my experience over many years, there are really three types of students, or obviously there are many ways we can categorize, but in relation to what I'm talking about here, there are students always in the minority. No matter what you do, they're going to meet all the requirements. They have parents or guardians who just bring them to seminary every day or every week, do all the assignments. They get everything done either for the right reasons or the wrong reasons. They are just going to graduate no matter what you do, even despite anything bad you or I might do. They're just going to do that. But that's a small category. That's category one. Category two will come back to in a moment. Category three are students who are just not going to graduate. Now, when I say that, I don't mean that in a mean way, meaning that they might come reasonably regularly. They certainly won't meet all the requirements, and those students should be encouraged to participate in seminary. Speak to me. We'll try to come up with some kind of certificate if they meet some of the requirements, perhaps, for example, the reading. But there's some students, no matter what you do, maybe because of their family background or whatever, you know what I'm talking about, they're simply not going to graduate. But if they're in a position to come regularly, just have them come along. If they're not doing all the reading, they still, over a 4-year period, can get quite a lot out of seminary. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Obviously, we're not encouraging students to be that way, but we're referring to students who they're just going to do this. Now, category number two are the ones I'm interested in here. Now, depending on the size of your class, if you've only 2 students, you can't divide them into 3 categories, but the principle still applies. There are students who would have graduated. There are students who would have completed year 1, year 2, or whatever. There are students who would have met all the reading if they just had a little bit of nudging from their teacher. I'm not in any way blaming the teacher. What I'm saying is that a midterm checkup is a time for, especially for those category 2 students. So maybe by talking to a parent, maybe by talking to the bishop, sometimes simply talking to the student, you can make a huge difference. In institute, I find there are always students who are not particularly pushed about graduating. They've been attending over a number of years. And I've had this conversation with many students, and I make them, for example, this coming school year, 2020-21, in one institute alone in Scotland, there are 17 students who, if they meet the requirements this year, will actually graduate this coming year. Now, I know when I will be speaking with these students, I'm recording this early summer, but when I'm meeting with these students, many of them will go, oh, I didn't even know. And then what do I have to do? And I tell them, well, you need to do this particular course and meet these requirements, and then you're going to graduate. So that conversation will mean there will be students in Scotland who will graduate from institute next year simply because I have that conversation, or a teacher of theirs or whatever. So for you, make sure you're doing a midterm checkup and zeroing in particularly on those who just need a little bit of a nudge to get over the line.